The final approach to database marketing strategies that we want to talk about is the idea of using your database to do an analytical and modeling approach to understanding your customers. Always understand that learning about your customers is essential for every marketer. Database marketers have information available that other traditional marketers don't have, which is potentially powerful information that can allow the database marketer to know more about their customers than the traditional marketer will ever know. All right. And so to become a more effective and more efficient marketer, if you have a database, you need to go in and use it to learn more about your customers. Some of the sorts of tactics, tools, and techniques associated with analytical and modeling approaches to using your database. This is really a marketing research approach to using your database. Is appending data, profiling your customers, cloning your customers, acquisition strategies, predictive modeling, analytical software, profitability analysis, customer segmentation, next best product analysis, and even cluster coding. So let's talk about each of these in order just briefly. All right, appended data. It is possible today to append data to any name or address that you have in your file. In the olden days, we used to always go in and try to gather this information from individual customers. Today, it is so inexpensive to gather this data from third-party sources that it is unlikely that you would go in and try to find out whether or not your current customers own their own home, what their income levels are, et cetera, et cetera. You would probably go to a third-party vendor who will provide that appended data to you at a very, very reasonable price. Profiling, okay? Profiling and cloning. So you need to profile your best customers, and you need to profile your best LTV customers, long-term lifetime value customers, and you need to profile your competition's best customers, and you need to profile your future customers. So profiling is simply using your database to learn more about your customers. Are your best customers men or women? What is the age of your best customers? Do your customers become better as they get older? What about education levels? What about income levels? What about where they live? Either zip code analysis or rural versus suburban versus urban. All of this is learning more about your customers by going in and being able to identify which of your customers are your best customers, and then being able to analyze that data in a effective and efficient way. Cloning. Okay, so cloning is all about replicating your best customers. You know, I have my doctorate is from the University of Wisconsin at Madison, and of course they have a huge dairy science area at Madison, and so they were one of the first schools to really get involved in cloning, because what they wanted to do was clone their best milking producing cattle. So they take the cattle who produce the most milk, and you do what? You try to reproduce new cattle who are most likely to be high milk producers. All right, so we really find out what makes our best customers, and then we go out and find more people who look just like that. Cloning. This is an important aspect of marketing. Traditional marketers don't spend much time talking about it, but database marketers do. Acquisition strategies. All right, so what is the best way to acquire customers? Trick question. The answer is, well, track all your methods for attracting new customers and see which ones acquires the best customers. In general, we know that customers that are referred are typically our best customers at the end of the day. But there are all kinds of ways to acquire customers, and we need to know which ways give us our best customers. Then there is this notion of predictive modeling. All right. This is using appended data and behavioral data and psychographic data to create models that predict accurately which customers are most likely to defect and which customers are most likely to respond to new initiatives. Modeling your customers will allow you to provide the best possible customized customer communications to them to increase retention, spending, referrals, and reduce costs. And then there's, of course, this issue of analytical software. That is, what software do we use to evaluate our campaigns, but then also evaluate the quality of our customers? Now, most of us have had a course in statistics, and so you know a little bit about some of the different methods, whether they be regression-based methods, structural equation modeling methods, decision tree methods, neural net marketing methods. And so we are not going to get too deeply into the different kinds of analytical software available, but we do want you to understand that there are plenty of analytical software tools out there to help you become a better modeler and a better profiling and cloner of your customers. And then, of course, there's this issue of profitability analysis. I'm going to show you an example of a project that we did 15 years ago that used profitability analysis for bank customers to identify who the bank's best customers were, but also their most profitable customers. All right. So today, banks, supermarket, insurance firms, business-to-business enterprises, and many others can compute the monthly profitability of each customer. They have discovered that many customers look like they are profitable, but in fact are not. And as a result, this approach changes where the emphasis is put in terms of communicating with our best customers. Customer segmentation. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about segmenting customers into groups. With traditional marketing, segmentation tends to be based on benefits sought, but it is a sort of a squishy field. In database marketing, we typically do what's called micro segmentation, and we have we actually have one of the seminal pieces on micro segmentation that we produced in around 1990. So that would be a 30-year-old article talking about how database marketers can break the market down into smaller and smaller groups based on the availability of information that they have at their disposal. Next best product. You see this happening all the time when you're on Amazon or some of the other websites. People who bought what you're looking at also bought this. This is using the database to determine what we should offer to customers while we have them in front of us, while we have them already getting ready to make a purchase of one product. Why not try to bundle things together and get them to buy multiple products? This is this notion of the next best product. It's you can easily put it into a customer database and use it to customize offers. And then finally, we have something called cluster coding. It used to be Claritas, but now it turns out that Claritas sold this part of their business to Nielsen. And they divide the U.S. Up and Canada up into different customer clusters. And it's typically geo-demographic data that includes some of the VALS principles associated with it. And they create clusters of customers. One of the categories would be something like kids in cul-de-sacs. Another cluster would be pickup trucks and shotguns, and another might be whoopies, well-off older people. And so the idea behind the cluster coding is to append data to the files that will allow us to provide better communications to each of our customer groups Once again, cluster coding. These are all things that we might do to improve our understanding of who our customers are and how we can best communicate with them.